Blaise Pascal, the mathematician of faith and paradox, 1623 to 1662. The candle burned low in a Parisian study. Outside, the city slept under a blanket of fog. Inside, a young man sat bent over a desk, scribbling equations across parchment, his mind alive with numbers, infinity, and God. His name was Blaise Pascal, a genius who would spend his short life chasing both the logic of the universe and the mystery of the soul. Born in 1623, Pascal was a child prodigy. By 12, he was writing mathematical theorems. By 16, he had written a treatise on conic sections that astonished France's greatest scholars. His father, a tax collector, struggled to keep up with the brilliance of his son. At 19, Pascal invented one of the world's first mechanical calculators, the Pascaline, a clattering box of gears and wheels that could add and subtract. It was a marvel of invention, a machine that thought in numbers. But while his mind soared in mathematics, his heart wrestled with meaning. The 17th century was an age divided between faith and reason, between Galileo's telescope and the Church's decrees. Pascal lived at that crossroads. He explored physics, discovering the principles of pressure and vacuum. His experiments with mercury and air proved that an invisible force, atmospheric pressure, pressed upon all things. He had measured the weight of the sky itself. Yet for all his brilliance, Pascal was haunted by emptiness. Man, he wrote, is but a reed, the weakest in nature, but he is a thinking reed. The universe was vast and cold, yet within man burned the light of consciousness. That contradiction fascinated and terrified him. Then, in 1654, everything changed. One night, his carriage nearly plunged off a bridge near the river Seine. He survived, but something inside him broke open. Later that night, he experienced a vision, an overwhelming sense of God's presence. He called it the night of fire. He wrote furiously in the dark, his words trembling with emotion. Fire. God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob, not of the philosophers and the scholars. Certainty. Joy. Peace. He sewed that parchment into his coat and carried it with him for the rest of his life. After that night, Pascal turned away from science's cold certainty and devoted himself to the search for faith through reason. He joined the Jansenists, a Catholic reform movement that emphasized humility, morality, and divine grace. In his Pensées, Thoughts, published after his death, Pascal explored the contradictions of human nature, our longing for meaning and our fear of the infinite. His famous wager proposed that believing in God was the safest bet of all. If you gain all. If you lose nothing. Wager then that he exists. But his writing was no blind sermon. It was a cry from a man who saw both the grandeur and the misery of humanity. Man's greatness, he wrote, lies in knowing he is wretched. Pascal died at 39, frail and sickly, his body consumed by illness but his mind burning bright until the end. He left behind not just discoveries in mathematics and physics, but a legacy that bridged the worlds of reason and faith, a dialogue between science and the soul that still echoes today. Blaise Pascal was both a skeptic and a believer, a scientist and a saint of logic. He showed that the pursuit of truth is not a straight path, but a paradox, that sometimes, to understand the universe, one must also seek the divine.